Hello everyone and welcome back to JCB Pioneer Mars, a game where we are colonizing the Red Planet using futuristic JCB equipment. And today I wanted to talk to you about a couple of changes that have been introduced with the latest patch, which was 1.05 a couple of days ago, that were centered about quality of life changes and upgrades and dust storm and vehicle optimization and so on. So the first thing, that probably the most interesting thing that has been introduced and quite requested feature, I would say, is the save button. As you can see, now you can actually save the game at any given point. So this is something that has been requested so much, and I am really glad to see that developers have actually included that feature. Another thing that has been added is that now you can actually transfer resources between vehicles that are not the starter vehicle. So here I have my JMC CR16, the big cargo truck, that, as you know, has a very long range and can support our Pioneer for quite a long time, but it had one major issue along with the big excavator, and that issue was that you couldn't actually transfer resources from that vehicle to any other vehicle, and that was a potential problem, because why would you want to use, especially the large excavator that is hyper slow and is pretty much nothing special apart from the fact that it can, with certain upgrades, dig much faster than JMC X18, but once the resources were digged or excavated, they were stuck inside. So how would you, what was the reason to use it if you cannot transfer them? And now, as you can see, now you can open the inventory of your vehicle and the target vehicle, as well as other usable buildings like refineries and storage units, and transfer resources directly. So that's a great change that has been introduced, and you don't have to now use other solutions to get around this problem, like going out of the game and picking the crate. So this is something that has been changed, and it's a great thing. I'm also happy to report that the gas collectors are working again, and now we can enjoy collecting resources from the gas collectors that we place. So, as I promised to show you, the gas collectors are now working, and here is one of the gas collectors that I have placed quite some time ago, collecting methane, and we can now actually open its inventory. That wasn't the feature before, and as you can see, we have 600 methane collected, and yeah, so it's quite a lot. So in your face, Elon Musk, that's how you collect methane on the surface of Mars. Unfortunately, I have no use for that gas so far, because I haven't established any solid power generation buildings. I'm currently in the process of building one. Another interesting thing that happened, and another interesting update, was the changes to the suit tech tree. I can't really tell you much about that because, well, it wasn't working before, so kind of skipped that feature. But apparently it's fixed, and now all the upgrades that you apply to your suit are not only getting not corrupted during application and the process of upgrading your suit, but they are also supposedly working. And as you know, that wasn't exactly the case before. Now seems to be that this has been changed. I tried this before, and before the patch, that wasn't working at all. So that suit upgrades were pretty useless. No changes were introduced, and well, no functional changes were introduced, and I still think that there are a couple of things missing or not working as intended in the game in terms of how the upgrades are applied, because as you might have noticed, I have 4 garages right now, and this is because I bought a second JMC X18 specifically to get the scanner upgrade. And as you can see, this vehicle is not exceptionally well shielded, or does not have an increased cargo capacity, but I went for the upgrade that would actually give it a better scanner, because I was hoping that this might solve the issue that I had up to now, with a more advanced and far away resource pools not being detected whatsoever by the scanner. And the problem is actually that if you go a little bit further out in the open, roughly up to this point where you see where my resource nodes are indicated, the scanner stops working, and you can scan whatever you want even with that upgraded vehicle. I tried that, and new resource pools are not detected. And this is exceptionally strange in my opinion, because in previously, or the resource pools that are a little bit closer to your base are detected when you actually find them physically and mine for them, then they will be marked on your map. And this is not happening, and I would say that this is a huge drawback in terms of exploration, because why would you want to go out if not for more resources? I mean, everything that you need pretty much is available close to your base, and if you want to go out there and explore, then should be able to. I really see no reason why those resource pools are not detected. So this is something that hasn't been fixed, and I really do hope that they will fix that. Another thing that has been changed in the game, and that's probably a very important change in my opinion, is that, as you were about to see, the oxygen levels are not replenished automatically when you enter your habitation unit. Before it was the case, and it was quite handy. Right now, as you can see, we have we're at 2/3 of our oxygen consumption. When we enter the hub unit, nothing changes. The power gets replenished, but not the oxygen. So you can obviously resort to using this small O2 canisters that up to this point we're regenerating, and that still regenerates in the crates, but this will be changed in the future. But another change that has been introduced to counter this fact that the hub no longer replenishes oxygen is that when you use the oxygen canister that you have on you, you get a empty canister that you can then refill, and those canisters are have infinite number of uses, so to speak. This will be changed apparently in the future, so so we should enjoy those refillable O2 canisters when we can, because they will go away at some point. But yeah, but up to this point that wasn't the case, and I think it's a great change actually. It's a great change. The same goes for the food containers and water containers. They are refillable right now, and after using them you don't really need to make another one. Just have to refill them at your greenhouse or oxygen generator or water collector to replenish your resources. And I think that's a great change. It actually makes the game much more logical and pleasant to play, frankly, because it gives you incentive to make better containers and improve your capabilities. So the most important and probably the most interesting change that occurred is the one that is about the dust storms. And right now we get a dust storm indicator. So once the dust storm is present in the area, a small pop-up window will appear telling you that the dust storm has been detected. And developers stated in the patch notes that when you see that, then you should head to the nearest cave or back to your base. And this actually got me thinking, because I haven't seen any cave in that game apart from the starter cave that you can see over there. I've never seen any other cave. I found some buildings that hasn't been built by me that you can enter, and I will show you those buildings, because there's quite a lot of interesting stuff inside. But I would be lying to you if I said that I found a cave before. I haven't, and I am really baffled by that. So is it does that mean that I'm just unobservant and there are caves in the game, or what? Or yeah, basically I'm really interested. And if you happen to found the cave in JCB Pioneer Mars, so do tell me please, I would be really interested in its whereabouts. So as you can see, we need to build some exotic solid power generation building, and as you also probably noticed, the base construction has been advanced slightly since the last episode, but we'll try to do that, and I will use it as an excuse to actually show you that buildings that I found that are very interesting in my opinion. And also, hopefully, we will get caught by a dust storm. And you know, this is something interesting, because previously you would be actually actively avoiding dust storms, and right now this is something actually I wanted to find, to show you the changes that have been made to the game. So while this is building or crafting, another thing that I haven't mentioned is that in the future they intend to give us an option to expand the hub, or actually improve the hubs to the point where it would get the oxygen regeneration system running, so you would not need to use those refillable oxygen canisters, which would be great, I think. So I think it would be more logical actually that if we had a system that would resupply the hub unit with oxygen, so once you enter, your oxygen levels are replenished automatically, as it was the case before. And actually I don't see the logic behind it, why why they consider it a bug. But if that's an upgrade that you would need to actively put to your hub unit, then yeah, okay, I can go with that. Now another thing that I can see that seems to be quite bugged is that you can no longer transfer resources from the hub to your suit, and yeah, so one thing has been fixed, two others have been broken. I guess that's the beauty of early access, but we can get around that. We can get this to our vehicle, and then from our vehicle to our suit, I believe, should be something that we could maybe do. And if not, then, well, okay. So this seems to be quite buggy right now, but let's not worry too much about that. This game still quite a long way to go to be fully playable, but it's fun. I like it. So now our hydration pouch has been refilled, and we can use it to rehydrate ourselves. As you can see, the hydration pouch stays with us. It's empty, but it stays with us. Other things disappear sometimes, like one thing that I haven't been able to figure out why this is happening, or what is happening exactly, is that those repair materials right now seem to be consumed at much faster rate than they were consumed before, and I would say they are illogically quickly getting consumed. So this is something they might want to look into potentially. But apart from those updates and you know, very much requested save functions that I've already mentioned earlier, another interesting thing that happened is the dust storm changes. And actually right now what I would like to show you is how the dust storms have been changed, and what that means. And but before actually we go into that, maybe we should talk a little bit about how it was done before. And before, this JMC CR16, the large cargo truck, was completely immune to dust storms. It was also pretty useless because you couldn't transfer resources from that vehicle to other buildings or to other vehicles, especially the large excavator. Now you can, and yeah, but the bright side was that you could explore the you know, Mars surface with that vehicle without any problems whatsoever, because it was immune to dust storms, so you weren't worried that you will be caught out in the open. And you can't still repair this vehicle at all. Once it gets damaged, the only way to repair it is to go back to the garage, and I see that actually this is something that is the case right now, so let's go quickly fix that. because you can still damage it by, you know, bumping into stuff and by doing usual kind of unexperienced driver mistakes. So so you can still damage this vehicle up to the point where it will be completely destroyed. But before, it wasn't, the dust storm was not a problem when you were inside. So we could, you know, using dropship, summoning beacon, you could go out and explore in that vehicle easily, and then, you know, summon your excavators once you needed them, and you know, go about your business. The only problem was that the transfer was not kind of present, and if you were out in the open using in your smaller vehicles, smaller and faster vehicles, or maybe in the excavator truck, and you left this one in your base, then you could summon it and hide inside it to wait the dust storm. Right now there is a small change, or slight change, to that behavior. This vehicle can still survive the dust storm, but is not immune anymore. And if you get caught by a dust storm while being inside JMC CR16, then you will get damaged a little bit. I mean, you will get down to about 38% of your hit points. So it will take away 62% of your hit points. So if you're over that, then you should probably be fine. You still can't repair that vehicle, so keep that in mind. But yeah, that's basically it. You have a useful vehicle, a useful large excavator, in a sense that you can actually use them to extract more resources, and you can survive dust storms out in the open. So this game suddenly started to be much more playable and enjoyable, in terms that you can actually use multiple vehicles to get stuff done. And let's just go out and explore a little bit, and hope that we'll stumble upon a dust storm, so I can show you how this thing will play out. Our little excursion that we'll do right here will be the one that actually will be to the place where I found this other building that you can actually enter inside, because there is some interesting thing inside that I wanted to show you. And I don't really know if that building will shield you against a dust storm, but we can put that to a test as well. So unfortunately, as I was driving, the game crashed, and we got a little bit too lucky, because as you can see, the dust storm's already coming, and we're still quite far away from the place that I wanted to show you. So I don't think that we'll make it in time. But thanks to the this amazing event that is dust storm on Mars, you can see that we have a small pop-up window appearing, or should I say a small pop-up message appearing in the bottom of the screen in the red, telling us that the dust storm is indeed coming. And the good thing about that is it actually appears when the dust storm is generated, or actually is present in a vicinity, so you don't really need to see it. And sometimes when you are in a canyon, or you know, location that is kind of more shielded, or not so open, so you can't see very far, and you won't be able to see that dust storm coming, and now you just know. But interesting thing, as I said, is that it's no longer a big deal, because, well, we can survive this dust storm inside our amazing JMC CR16. Whether this is enough, I don't know, because well, this vehicle is still quite difficult to get, and I would call it a late game vehicle, in fact. So when you get to the point where you can use it, then probably you would have to find a way to deal with the dust storms before. But, well, at least once you get there, you know that dust storms are no longer the problem. And just imagine that I would get caught by this dust storm when I would be here, and there is no way I could have made it back to our base. And yeah, here we are. entering the dust storm right now. And as you know, before that would be game over for me, and currently it's not. It's like I was hoping it would be. It does damage your vehicle, and the visibility is reduced to 0, so I can't drive because I just don't know where I am. I have absolutely no idea where I should go because I can't see anything. And our hit points are going down slowly but steadily, and we just have to wait. And based on the experience I have so far, the dust storm is able to get this JMC CR16, the big cargo truck, down to about 36% of hit points. So you can totally survive 1. You can't survive 2. And you still have to pay attention to how you drive, because you can damage this vehicle by bumping into, you know, stuff, terrain, or I don't know, by doing some other things. And you don't want to do that, because this vehicle, unlike JMC X18, is irreparable out in the open, in the field. You cannot fix it, and you have to get it back to your base to fix it. So unfortunately, because of crashes and other things, I couldn't test with you whether the building that I found outside of our base will be able to shield us from the dust storm. So I won't tell you, I won't provide answer for that particular question, but I can still show you where this building is. So this is the spoiler. If you don't want to find it, I mean, if you want to find it yourself, and if you don't want to know where it is, you prefer to kind of, I know, leave the exploration to yourself, then probably you should either stop watching right now or fast forward to the point where we get there. But if you are curious how to get there and where it is, then I'll show it to you right now. That's the last warning. So let's open the map right here and see where we are. So as you can see, we went directly south from our base. Basically, no matter how you go, which route you will choose, it doesn't really matter. You have to go directly south. And once you go directly south, you will see that there is a small kind of like a canyon. You have to just follow this mountain range to the south, which is actually the mountain range that you cannot cross. And out there in the distance, as you can see, or you will see in a second, is another Russian base, and a quite epic one actually. It's a very big Russian base, and quite interesting one as well, because apart from those smaller buildings that we we are used to, there is this big circular building in the very ends of the base, I would say. So you have to basically drive through the entirety of the base, and as you can see, this one is a couple of times bigger than the largest one that we've found so far. And there are some other entrances to that base. Not all of them can be used as exits, but and definitely none of them actually is large enough to support the size of this vehicle. So what we'll do is we'll use our amazing JMC X18 to get inside, because, well, why not? If we can summon that vehicle, then we should totally do it. A, because it's faster, and B, because it has longer oxygen capacity. So, or larger oxygen capacity, therefore we can last longer inside. And while we are waiting, here is actually a very good place to show you how the scanner is still not working for other vehicles. But let's admire the amazing landing for the dropship here. Still looks pretty good. So as you can see, we are at the point where actually we are at the frontier of what's detectable in terms of resource pools, and this vehicle right here, the one that we've collected, the summoned actually, JMC X18, it's not the one that has upgraded scanner. The other one has, and I will summon the other one right now. Just there's one of those nodes that is undetectable right here in that base. I think it's this one. So you can see it's just, we don't know what's inside. If I mine it, and if I remember correctly, it will tell us what's inside that node, but we don't know how much of those resources are inside, and it's still not indicated on our map, as you can see. This node right here where we are. Okay, now it got indicated, but it's not indicated on our HUD, and it will not be detected with the use of a scanner. And right here, I think, is a spot where we can actually summon another JMC X18. That's not this one. So you can see this one has all the shielding and stuff. And the other one that does not have the shieldings is the one that has upgraded scanner. And both of those vehicles are already upgraded to level 6. So I don't know, maybe that's just not enough. But the weird thing about that in such case would be that this one has no scanner upgrades whatsoever, and it's detecting all the nodes up to, you know, 600 points capacity. The other one has all the upgrades that I could think or find that would impact the scanner, and that hasn't improved its scanning capabilities, so to speak. Maybe, I mean, I don't really care about the range. What I care about is that it actually detects resources once we get close to them. So I must say that this dropship summoning feature is useful, but it's also a bit overpowered. It should be like a timer, or maybe the fuel capabilities of that dropship should be somehow taken into account. So okay, this one is equipped with a better scanner. So let's see if we can actually scan this. See, nothing. It's just finding the crates, but it's not finding any new resource nodes. And I know that there are other resource nodes around this area as well. I know that there is one resource node over here in that glacial area, because I went there and I've seen it. Although I went there with our cargo truck, because it's the most sturdy vehicle that we have, and that does not necessarily mean that I know what's inside that vein, because, well, there is no vehicle that I have that can actually go there and mine it. I can just, you know, go for a quick scouting mission, so to speak. So okay, so let's enter this very peculiar looking Russian building that for some reason has English writings on it. But hey, it's a Russian base with English writing. But it's, as one of you noticed, it's that what's written on the side of those bases is also a doesn't make any sense in Russian, because it means hub 1 written in so it's not something that makes sense in Russian. So I don't really know. Anyway, so here we are. This is the base, and as you can see, it's a kind of like a storage area probably. And what I haven't been able to test, and I would really like to know, is whether this can serve as a shelter against the dust storms. I have absolutely no idea. Logically speaking, it should be the case, but whether will that be the case, I don't know. It's difficult to say, because, well, this game sometimes is not logical. The dust storm can phase through you know, a cliff, right, and without any problems. So is this treated like a building? I hope it is, because that would be very cool. What's inside that crate, you might be wondering? Platinum cobalt alloy, whatever that means. I haven't been able to find any use for that. I haven't been able to manufacture that in my base, And as you can see, it's also quite heavy, so I can't carry it with me right now. But that doesn't really matter. I know where it is, and if I ever need it, that will be a short trip from our base. So that will be all for today. I mean, we've went through all the patch notes probably, and through interesting things that I found in the game. The last thing that maybe is worth mentioning that I don't really find particularly interesting is now you can see that there is a leaderboard. I'm on the 18th place on that leaderboard. Survived for 19 days in the game. Which, it's quite far away from, you know, the top 3 places, but hey, I'm still very proud of myself. So there is that. There's of course the save option that you've seen before. You still, after loading, you still start at your base. So I don't really understand how that helps you, but hey, there is an improvement, right? And as a closing thought, I would like to tell you that there is another base with this kind of circular building that I found. And it's very far away from where we are right now, and I encourage you to go out there and find it. But be sure to bring your JMC CR16 with you, because otherwise you might not survive the trip. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please consider liking this video, and if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I would also like to thank Shirax and Joe Loffen and all my patrons on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and your support is very much needed. My name is Mark Frim, and I will see you next time.